Hi there, welcome to my second art video. What we're going to do in this one is lay down some colors, and in this one I'm working on a finished line art drawing. I might adjust a few things on it, but for the most part I'm pretty happy with how they came out. So what I'm going to do is show you the process on getting some colors in there. What you need to do first is lay down flat colors. So we're going to start on one character in this video, and we're going to focus on this dude this time. And what we're going to do is select over here. You can see my cursor on the top right. We're going to do his skin tone first. He's a little elf dude, so he's going to have kind of like a peachy tone to himself. So we're going to brush him like so. I'm actually realizing I don't have the correct brush selected, so what I'm going to do is go up here, and you'll notice in this video that I have the whole Photoshop window in the screen. And the last one what I did was I was zoomed in on the canvas, so you didn't really get a grasp of what was going on and what brushes I was selecting. I'm realizing that maybe you might want to look at that. So what I want to do is I'm going to get out of the watercolor brushes. I'm going to go up here to the ink box, and I actually like his Belgian Comics brush for coloring because it kind of makes a nice clean solid brush stroke. So I have flat colors down here. I did this previous to starting the video, and I'll actually zoom in closer to him so we can sort of get color on. And you can kind of be loose with this part, because what you're doing is, as long as you're coloring between the lines, it's sort of gonna look fine. You're not really worrying about adding dimension or anything at this stage. You're kind of getting the base color of the face on there. I usually start with the face. I'm realizing you can probably hear my tablet in this video because my mic is set up right next to it. So you're hearing me talk as I'm drawing this time. The last video I recorded the audio after I started it. So in this video we're kind of in this together. Alright, so his face is now skin colored. Let's do his hair. My word of advice for selecting colors is to avoid going towards the extremes of anything unless you really need it. Hair, like a brown like this. It's kind of nice to have it with a little less saturation in it, and sort of have it sort of with less color in it. You want to make sure you're not going in or out of the lines. You'll notice right here I kind of missed out on getting some color in there. So if I see things like that, I'll get my ink dropper tool and select the color that it should be and just brush that in. And say I want to go back to the hair, I'll get the ink brush again, go back to the color I was doing, and just carry on. And to do that, to hit the ink dropper tool, I just hit the I button on my keyboard. I sort of have one hand on my keyboard as I'm doing this, and the other hand holding the stylus or Wacom pen. Another way to do this, I mean, I might be wasting time the way I'm doing this. You can kind of trace around stuff here. And maybe zoom in. Get a good outline of the area that you're just going to fill in. And just sort of connect the dots here. Because what you can do is you can fill it with the paint bucket tool. So you don't really have to worry about coloring the whole thing in as if it's a crayon. I just do that because it's fun. I mean, I'm not being paid to do this, so I don't really have to worry about time constraints. I'm just doing it for fun. But if you're in a hurry, it might be easier to do it that way. Alright, so you'll notice that his colors aren't extremely bright and vibrant. The whole image should sort of be a little faded back, and you should probably have a few spots that have more color in them. You might not see that right now, but when the picture's done, it'll make more sense. Okay. Let's get his shirt here. I'm gonna do like a red, like a deep red. I think would be good. But I wouldn't kind of go in and paint it this kind of really bright red. I mean, he'll stand out more against the background, which would be nice, but to me it seems like overkill. I'd like to kind of fade it back a little bit. So we're gonna bring it down to right here in there. And I mean, if you go here, you can went off the window. I have two screens going on, so this little color picker window, it came up on my other screen, so it didn't come up automatically. But if you double click right here, you can see all of the CMYK values. And right now I have this document set up at CMYK. Or I don't, it's actually at RGB. I should change that because I want to print this eventually. I can actually show you how to do that. Actually, I can't, because the top part, the top bar with of the drop downs aren't in my capture right now. I'll make sure I get that on the next one, but on this one, I'm just going to show you the drop down, and I'll tell you what's up there. So you're going to go to image, and you'll actually see the whole drop down here. So you're going to go to mode, and you're going to go over here and go to CMYK color. And yes, things will change. You do not want to flatten this because you're going to lose all your layers right here. So you're going to go to don't flatten, and you're going to get this. You can kind of just ignore that. And now everything is in CMYK and will be safe to print. So what you do is you just finish it up. You get all the flat colors in there. Okay. I'm just gonna, just for the sake of being quick in this video, I'll outline this guy. I'll fill it in so you can see that. This part might not be as fun for you guys to watch now that I'm thinking about it. So I might just might do some shading on his face so you can get a little look at the process of doing that, because you'll at least get a sense of what I'll do on the rest of the character once all the flats are down. That's what this is called, laying down the flat colors. I'll usually do a highlight layer and a shadow layer on separate layers that are right above this one, and I might not even use the same brush to do that, so I can get effects like a gradient or like a certain brush effect to kind of make it look painterly. But in this, I want to go for a clean, comic-y look. Being a little sloppy here, but That's fine, I can just erase it. One thing that is kind of annoying about Photoshop is that the eraser brush isn't the same exactly as your brush. You'll notice I hit E, I get that circle right here. I get that circle there, and I hit B, and I get this Belgian Comics brush that was made by Kyle. So they're not always the same, and you won't always erase the same line that you're painting down. And again, I'm going to paint this hand here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ink dropper tool, and I'm going to select this peachy color. Now I'm going to fill in the hand. Okay. I feel like I should kind of fill the rest of him in before I start shading, but just for the sake of finishing this video up soon, I think I'm gonna kind of make the second layer. Right now over here, I'm gonna do shadows first, and what I'll do for that is I'll select this, and then I want to go down on the color scale at least 2 steps so that it actually looks like a shadow. So I usually kind of take my cursor over here, if you're looking in the top right again, and then I go down just about here, and I get a darker shade right in this little spot. So that's what I have selected now, and it usually looks good if I sort of put it in the spots where I want shadows. So I'm doing the nose right now, and I'm gonna get the kind of crevice in between his eye right here. I'm gonna get right there under his lip, under his hair. Actually, might look better if I just get it right there, and then up here. There we go. His hair. His ears need some shadows. This isn't a very harsh shadow. You can adjust it however you want, really. I just think since they're outside, it shouldn't be that harsh. This whole scene is during the daytime. Alright, so you'll notice I kind of screwed that up, but that's an easy fix. You just get the shadow tool, or actually no, you don't want to just brush that in, because watch, if I brush this in and then go to flat colors and get rid of that, you'll notice that the shadow layer now has this thing that doesn't need to be there. That's not really a shadow, that should be what's under it. So what I can do is just erase what's there in the shadow, and see how it's kind of tricky. It gets hard to manage if you do stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is erase that on the shadows layer without the flat colors selected, so I can clearly see what I'm erasing, as opposed to just going in here and sort of guesstimating it, because I might leave something there and not know it. And yay, it's gone. Okay. I think I just did the same thing again. No. Okay. So I've got the shadow selected again. I'm gonna give him some. He's got some bags going on, but they're not too bad. He's been on some adventures. Let's get right there. And right there. Now let's put some shadows on the hair too. I usually keep all the shadows on the same layer. I might even go in here later and do flat colors on the character, so it'll be flat colors Tuku. I didn't mention the name of this dude in the last video. This is Wacom. But I'll usually keep the shadows, flat colors and stuff all on one layer, so it's a little easier to go back and forth and erase and find stuff. But on the other hand, it might be better to say shadows Tuku, flat colors Tuku, or Tuku shadows, 2Q flat colors just to make it more manageable. Sometimes it kind of gets ridiculous to have too many layers, but you can group them together, which is helpful. Okay. Just did the same thing I did on the skin here for the hair. Made a shadow going in the spots where there would be no light on them. And again, it's not that harsh, so most of what's going to be showing for color is the flat color. Okay. That's good enough for me for shadows. So what I'm going to do is make a highlight layer here. Highlights. And I'm going to do exactly what I did up here, but instead of going down here, I'm going to take that same step and I'm going to go up on there. I'm going to get that. So when I put this color against this flat color here, it's going to be just as much of a step to show that it's a different shade, which is nice. And it gives it that kind of plasticky but crisp look. Let's see. And you'll notice that it's not too crisp yet. You can go in and fine tune every line in here. You'll notice little imperfections that I'll have to go in and touch up later. And again, you don't want to add the flat color. You want to erase the highlight, just so you don't have lines in there that you can't really see because they blend in with the color that's behind them. Okay. I'm going to add a highlight on the back of his head. And you know what? We're just going to highlight this whole hair. That one big highlighted part. Okay. So I have pretty much the highlights on the top of his head done. I'm going to add a few in here to add dimension to his hair so that it looks a little more like hair. There we go. Sort of just extra lines to show that there's stuff going on. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is do the same thing I did for the hair, except we're going to do it backwards, and we're going to do it on his face. And for this, you can't go the whole step up here to make it lighter than like I would do down here to go the whole step down. So what I do is go over here and get like a really light color. So I kind of take that step but take it diagonally this way. I tend to do that a lot when I do flesh tones. Okay. So there we go. It's a little bright, but I kind of like it this time. Because we're not going to put too much of it on here. We're going to just do it sparingly so that it doesn't look overdone. Ears a little bit. And there we go. That's all I'm going to do on the face for his colors besides his eyes, which you can kind of have some fun with. Let's go in there with green, a faded back green, not too much color. And we're going to go right there and add that. And I'm just realizing I'm doing it on the highlights layer, which is a big no-no. So what we're going to do is we're going to erase that, or if you want to be smart, what you should do is highlight that, hit copy, Command C, delete it, and then go down to the flat colors layer, and then you're going to go up to edit, paste special, paste in place. just going to put it back right where you want it. And it's going to be on the flat colors layer. Actually, it's not. I'm a liar. It went on this layer 2 layer right here. But that's cool because what you can do is drag it down here so that when you merge them, it has the flat colors names. You don't have to write it back in again. You're going to go to flat colors, and you're going to go down here, and you're going to go to merge layers. So now this green is part of this whole skin tone business. Okay, so we have the flats down on the eyes. Let's get some shadows in there. And for the shadows on the eyes, what's cool about eyes is you don't have to sort of put dimension to them. I wouldn't do this, do a bottom shadow on them. What I do is sort of go in, make lines in there. Don't have to make them even. Just add a few lines going towards the center. Maybe fill a few things in so it doesn't look too much like a pattern. Okay. Those look like eyes to me now. Then you can go in, add some highlights in there just to gloss it up a little bit. If you think it looks too flat, do whatever you feel like it looks best. Okay. I really like that. I'm going to keep it. Alright, so I'm going to call this video quits because I think it's going on a little bit too long. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep recording this separately, and I'm going to upload a time-lapse video of doing color like I did with the line work, so you can kind of see what's going on from start to finish on this one. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a little something, and thanks for bearing with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.